bolo. Govinda Rahe, Gopala Rahe,
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe,
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe,
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe,
bolo. Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe,
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe,
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe,
Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Jai Govinda Radhe,
Jaya!
Gopala Radhe,
Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda 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 Radhe,
Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Jai Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe.
Everyone. Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe,
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe,
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe,
Jai Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Govinda Radhe, Gopala Radhe,
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda
Bolo, bolo, bolo.
Radhe,
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda 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 Radhe,
Radhe Radhe 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 Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, da Radhe.
Bolo Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe.
Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe.
Govinda Radhe.
Govinda Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe.
Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe. Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe. Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe. Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe. Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe. Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe. Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe. Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe. Radhe 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 Govinda. Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe. Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe.
Govinda Govinda Govinda.
Govinda Govinda Govinda.
Gopala Gopala Gopala.
Gopala Gopala Gopala.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe.
Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe.
Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe.
Radhe Radhe 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 Radhe, Govinda Radhe.
Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Govinda Radhe.
Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe. Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe.
Radharani ki jai.
Jai.
Hi.
Hari Hari Bol.
Haribol.
Hari-bol. Wow. Was that really 10 minutes? That can't have been 10 minutes. I felt like it was way too quick. I want to say before you guys started singing, I felt like half of me was still in bed. And now I feel so awake and enlivened for today.
Jai.
I'm like so excited now to go on our virtual Parikrama and such a nice glorification of Radharani. I love, the style of kirtan. It just felt like we were all sitting in a room together. It didn't feel like I was just, sitting back on Zoom, just watching. I felt like I was part of it. It was great.
Oh, how fantastic. I'm very, very happy to hear that. Radharani's blessings.
Oh, please. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. May we be invited back to India
Yes.
and be allowed out of lockdown and back to India with Radharani's blessings. So thank you.
Well, I hope
Thank
so.
you, Tarun Krishnadas. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So sweet to be
Just
in your
before you
association.
go,
Thank you.
some people are wondering how they can hear more of your kirtan and stay in
Oh,
contact.
thank you. Yeah, you can listen. We have a YouTube channel where we have all our kirtan recordings. Just go to YouTube and search for Krishna Kirtan Music with Shri and Joaquin. So it will be Krishna Kirtan Music with Shri, and Joaquin spells Joakin, and I'm gonna type it on the chat box. And you can have, we have a different playlist. We have a Maha Mantra only playlist.
Yes, for the hardcore, just Maha Mantra only.
Yes.
And then we have favorites of other kirtans that are not just Maha Mantra. So
Yes, for you all to enjoy. So you can find us right there, and also at krishnakirtanmusic.com we have also our YouTube channel linked to that website.
I found you guys. Okay.
Fantastic.
There's one video of you guys for sure, so I'm going to put this in the chat for everyone. Thank you so much, guys.
Oh, pleasure. And we really love the traditional melodies of the rags because they're just so infused with beautiful rasas that, you know, can connect to the leelas. So, you know, different moods for different mantras and different pastimes. So it's just so nice. I feel I don't have to make up melodies. I feel like the acharyas have made the melodies for us, you know, and it's so beautiful to tap into these beautiful rasa infused rags, you know. So it's such a blessing.
Yes,
we're so lucky.
And we've been sharing this every Monday, every first and third Monday of the week. Wednesday. Sorry, every first and third Wednesday of the week, we share these pastimes and ragas.
I think kirtan's gone to your head.
Yes,
it's first and third Wednesday.
Yes.
He's got a kirtan high, so you have to bring him down. But thank you so much for the opportunity. It's so sweet to be here, and it's so lovely to take the association of the Gauranga family. Thank you so much. We're so blessed. Thank you.
Yes.
Hari-bol.
Hari-bol.
Hari-bol, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure.
Okay. So, I'm going to put you guys on mute actually because of the echo. Thank you so much. Okay, today we have a very, very auspicious day. We're visiting a lot of very special places. So we're going on Malasi Ganga Parikrama. So we're going to visit Malasi Ganga, which is such an amazing place. We're going to go to Hari-deva Temple and Brahma-kunda. That's with Pujapad Tridandi Maharaj. That's the first 30 or 40 minutes. And then for the next 30 minutes, we'll be with Pujapad Nemi Maharaj and visiting Chakaleshwara Mahadeva. So the form of Shivji, who's protecting Govardhan and Mukharavinda. And then we are going, for the last leg, we're going to Sri Sanatana Goswami's bhajana-kutira with Pujapad Tridandi Maharaj. It's such an amazing Parikrama. I'm sure you guys are all excited. But first, we're starting with the video, Maharaj. Is that correct? Okay. I will share this video. Oh, yes. Video is arranged by Nardan Prabhu. So we're very fortunate for that. Hari-bol. This one. Can you hear Maharaj?
Yeah. This is just winding them the way through to the Monastery Ganga.
Very well. Wow, another beautiful video. Very well. So now, Maharaj, it's map time. Is it map time, dare I say?
Yes, yes. Let's have a look at the map.
Okay. Oh, wait, I'm not sharing. Whoops.
So we've come from our Giriraj Temple. If we expand this picture, we can see the Giriraj Temple, and we've walked through. We just saw, oh, what happened?
That was my bad. Is that good?
Yep. So we've just walked through from Sri Giriraj Temple, and we saw Srila Gurudev walking through with all the devotees. And now we're going to circumambulate Manasi Ganga. So the first place we're going to go is number 10. So this is Hari-deva. And then we're going to just drop down to number 12. And that'll be Manasi Devi or Manasi Ganga Devi, right at number 12. And then number 11, just beside there is Brahmakund. So we're going to have darshan of these places first. And then we're going to circumambulate. We're going to go along the red line, along the banks of the Ganga, and we're going to come into the township of Govardhan there. That's in the busy street, etc. We are just there. And then we're going to come around the corner into the quieter section along. And then we're going to come to Chakaleshwara Mahadeva, who's at number 14. And then number 15 is Sanatana Goswami's bhajana-kutira. And then we're going to come along a stretch along the bank of the Ganga here to number 16, which is Mukharavinda, the beautiful face of Giriraj himself, herself is right there, number 16. And then we're just going to come back into the beginning, and that will complete our parikrama. So this Manasi Ganga is situated right in the very center of Giriraj. So now I'll begin to explain some of the details of this parikrama. Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astol Tarasdrashishi Manshila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again, millions and millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our beloved Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all the illustrious acharyas in our Rupanuga Guru Varga. I'm offering my prostrated Dandavat pranams to all of them, and to all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, and all the senior devotees on this parikrama today, headed by Pujapad Srila Bhaktivedanta Nemi Maharaj, and praying for all your mercy to carry us around this parikrama. So I think our kirtan was very appropriate today, expressing the exuberance of Giriraj Maharaj. Giriraj Maharaj or Giri Govardhan is always in this type of mood, very joyful, very jubilant. So many people are always dancing on Govardhan. So now we've come to the most auspicious banks of Manasi Ganga. So as I began to describe, Manasi Ganga herself is like situated right in the middle of Govardhan Hill. We did the south end parikrama yesterday, going from Dangati all the way around Govindakund, Puchuri, Surabikund, and Jatipur. We did that large parikrama yesterday, and then tomorrow we're going to go on the north end up to Uddhavkund and Radhakund and Kusum Sarovar and come back to our Giriraj Temple. So we will have covered the whole parikrama, but today we're doing a much shorter parikrama on foot, although there are a number of holy places that we're going to visit. So time will probably run about the same as yesterday. So we should appreciate that this Govardhan hill is like, or this Malasi Ganga, as I said, is like the very center. Actually, it's described as being in the lap of Giriraj Govardhan. And the pastime that describes the manifesting of this Malasi Ganga is very beautiful. So one day Krishna, he saw Nanda Baba and the Brijbasis. They were preparing their carts, their ox carts, and to go on a journey. So of course, Krishna was curious. Well, oh father, dear father, where are you all going? And Nanda Baba said, well, yesterday there was a great rishi here. And he was describing to us a very beautiful pastime where Garuda, he captured a very large serpent, and it was alive still. The serpent was alive and he was carrying it away. And the tail of that serpent happened to touch Mother Ganga. And immediately that serpent turned into a four-armed, beautiful Vishnu form. So that form, Garuda, he was astonished, but he placed that form on his back to carry that form to Vaikuntha. And when the Brijbasis, they heard this and they heard the other glorification of Mother Ganga, Ganga Devi, and where she manifested from in the spiritual world, washing the lotus feet of Vamanadev, and how she descended into this world, which is a very beautiful pastime described in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And we discuss it here in Navadvip also every year. We go to that place where Ganga Devi manifests here. And so all the Brijbasis, they became very enlivened by hearing the glorification of Ganga Mata. And they all decided collectively that they wanted to go straight away and take bath in those sacred waters. So this is where they were all going. They'd all decided to do this. But then Krishna, he realized that this is quite a long way. It's practically up around Rishikesh. It's near the Himalaya. That's where they would have to go to. They would have to go quite an extensive distance to come to the Ganga. So Krishna wanted to save his family members all that journey and keep them local within Vrindavan, within the forests and regions of Vrindavan. Because at this time, of course, they were living closer. They weren't living in Gokul. They had moved out towards Nandagaon and Varshana. We should always appreciate that the Brijbasis family groups are itinerant, that they're moving around constantly. I said at the very beginning that Braja means to move around. So we have that appreciation of their family nature is moving around like that. So Krishna, he described, oh, you don't have to go all that distance. We can just pray, and Ganga Devi, by her mercy, she's very, very merciful. She will manifest for us. But the Brijbasis weren't really believing in Krishna at that time. They just thought he was just saying this. So then Krishna, he led them all to this place between the two banks of Giriraj Maharaj, where it dips in the center like a valley. And there he brought all the Brijbasis. And he, in his meditation, Krishna was desiring that Mother Ganga come. And to the astonishment of all the Brijbasis, now this is a pastime that took place, which is described in all the Shastras. She came riding in on her crocodile carrier. Tarunji, you have a picture of this there, of Ganga Devi on her crocodile carrier. So all the Brijbasis, they witnessed. No. Try again. No. Keep going. That's it, the last one. Yes, there we go. This is Ganga Mata. She's riding on her crocodile carrier. Jamuna Devi also rides on a crocodile carrier, which we see when we go to Durvasa Rishi Ashram. There's a crocodile on the altar there with Yamuna Devi. But here, Ganga Devi is manifesting astonishingly right in front of all the Brijvasis, just to confirm, yes, this is not any superstition or anything of that nature. Srimati Ganga Mata has directly manifested for our pleasure right here in Giriraj Govardhan. It was a desire of Ganga Mata to manifest her waters in the most auspicious place in Govardhan, alongside of Govardhan. So she comes and she fills this beautiful lake that we just had darshan of when we saw the video, that beautiful lake. And it comes in from the western side, the western corner. She actually comes in. Now it's a little bit blocked off, but previously there was a current flowing. So Ganga Devi was flowing in this place of Manasi Ganga. So this is non-different entirely to Ganga Devi. And when Mahaprabhu came here, there's a beautiful description. You might like to take the reference. It's in the 18th chapter of Madhya Lila, beginning at the 18th verse through till about the 34th, 35th verse. And there's a description there of Mahaprabhu having darshan, first of all, of Hari-deva, and then of Brahmakund, and of circumambulating himself this Manasi Ganga. And it's described that in the morning time, he takes his bath in this Manasi Ganga to his great satisfaction and happiness. So this Manasi Ganga is extraordinarily auspicious, and there's different wonderful festivals throughout the year when thousands and millions of pilgrims come. Perhaps some of you have seen, I don't know, when there's like Guru Purnima, for example, there's probably 8 or 9 million devotees doing Parikrama of Govardhan Hill. You have to sort of jump into the flow of the crowd, and then you're immediately shoulder to shoulder and foot to foot with everybody. You're supported completely. If you fell and stumbled, you would be just trampled on. So it's a very ecstatic situation. But during this time, these different festivals, they produce a lot of pipes coming from Ganga Devi and allow the yatris, the pilgrims, to have baths without bathing in her waters directly, because it would be too crowded on her banks. But otherwise, there's beautiful ghats all around, ornamenting her banks, where the pilgrims generally can just comfortably bathe in her waters all the year round. So in the summertime, of course, it's quite warm, but in the wintertime, it's absolutely freezing, just like she's cold up north. So this is Manasi Ganga. So we're very fortunate today to have her darshan and to be performing her sacred parikrama. So now we're going to walk along a very short amount of time, maybe a minute practically, almost immediately. And then we're going to come to Hari-deva. So this beautiful temple of Hari-deva, yes, which we also saw in the previous video. This temple used to be 4 stories higher than this. And again, dear Aurangzeb, that tyrannical Muslim, took it into his head to knock these beautiful temples down for whatever reason Krishna had in mind, allowed him to do that. But this was a huge temple glorifying Hari-deva. So when we climb up those very steep steps, we come into a very long hallway. And then we have at the end another section where you climb into another sort of chamber. And there we have the most beautiful form of Hari-deva. You have a picture of this, Tarunji, of Hari-deva himself? No.
Not sure we do. Let me just double check.
Yes, we do have. We do have Hari-deva, the deity. You can take that off. This is Chakaleshwara you're looking at now, or Sanatana Gosvami.
Can't. It doesn't. It's not labeled that we have any image of Hari-deva.
Okay.
Let me double check.
I'm sure there is one there. But
No, I haven't been given one. I haven't been sent one, Maharaj.
okay. So we just saw a beautiful picture of Hari-deva in that video we just saw, where it's actually a like what we call a bas relief that comes out of the stone. It's like a two-dimensional form of the Lord. But he's in a very has a very youthful countenance. He looks like a young boy. And if you see him in the early morning while he's being dressed, he's just there in a pair of kopins. And he looks like the young boy that in fact he is, because 5,000 years ago, it's described, the gopis were here waiting for Brajendranandan, Shyam Sundar to come and meet them. They'd arranged a rendezvous here. And there was thousands and thousands of gopis waiting. And Krishna was delayed, and he was delayed a long time. And the gopis' separation reached a pitch of heightened ecstasy. And in that ecstasy, Krishna chose to manifest himself in a deity form of Hari-deva. This is how it's described. I can't understand ontologically how that is, that Krishna, the cowherd boy, is manifesting himself as a deity in front of the gopis, but the gopis, nevertheless, they appreciated that so intensely. And in their heightened ecstasy, they took that form of the deity and they worshipped it. Yes, these are the steps again, going up into the temple. They've just been renovated. You might have remembered from previous years, they were much more dilapidated. But now everything actually has been rebuilt inside also. So Krishna manifests himself in answer to the gopis' prayers of separation here in this most exquisite form of Hari-deva. And it's very, very beautiful. It's just Hari-deva himself. There's no other deity there on the altar. And it's described that the devotees, if ever they want success, which is always, of course, of their parikrama, they have to first take darshan of Hari-deva. So all of us collectively, due to my mistake, we omitted yesterday taking darshan. There's Hari-deva on the next slide along. Tarunji, yes. Now, this is Hari-deva, yes. We should have taken darshan yesterday just to assure the auspiciousness of our parikrama. But nevertheless, we're taking today and we're begging Hari-deva to please give us mercy and to forgive us for our omission yesterday. This is Hari-deva again. Wow, has someone sent you some pictures? These are beautiful. These are beautiful pictures.
Yes, Ramananda Prabhu has sent me a couple beautiful pictures. This one as well.
Oh, another one too. Yes. Very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. So he's in a pose of holding up Giriraj Govardhan. This is the pose he's in. And he manifested this form to the gopis, and they were completely satisfied with this form. And they decorated this form and they offered all their puja, their flowers and their milk substances and everything. And they were pacified by this form that Krishna manifested for them in Govardhan. The actual form of this now, the original form resides near Kanpur, which is about 600 or 800 kilometers east from where we are now. So it was hidden by the Muslims. They had to hide Hari-deva many times. So this form we see now is a Pratibhu form. And the original form of this, of course, is manifested by Brajanaba. Brajanaba, when the Krishna's great grandson, came here. We'll hear about him tomorrow. But he, under the direct order of his great grandfather, Sri Krishna, was ordered to manifest these different deities in Braj. So Brajanaba, he ensured that this deity was properly housed, etc., and placed in a beautiful temple of worship, which is where we're fortunate to be today, taking his darshan and begging for his mercy. Hari-deva is so merciful. We can prostrate ourselves on the cold floor. It's a huge, huge building. It has a very, how do you describe an atmosphere of vastness about it, because the hall that he's facing in front of him is like vast. And traditionally, with my Gurudev, we would run up and down with the kirtan party, having very, very loud kirtans. And of course, the sound and the acoustics of that hall were tremendous. And we could really have a thunderous kirtan in that place. So this was the place where we would perform those types of kirtan, very, very ecstatic. And then we would have Harikatha describing the beautiful nature of Hari-deva and his immense mercy and compassion. So now, briefly, we're going to take our leave of Hari-deva Prabhu and beg for his mercy for the rest of our parikrama will be successful. And now we're going to come out down those steep steps, and we're going to come through the original entranceway, and we're going to bear to our left down a very small little cobbled lane, and it's going to go around and it's going to come into the temple of Malasi Ganga or Malasi Devi, where we have there's a deity form of Durga Ma there, riding on her tiger. There's actually 4 heads in this little temple. The first is Durga Ma, who the devotees, and Srila Gurudev has instructed us, we see her as non-different, of course, from Purnamasi Devi. The local residents, they worship her as Durga Ma, but the Vaishnavas, we see her as Purnamasi Devi. And the next head is the tiger that she's sitting on. And the next head is a beautiful form of Gopal, of Krishna himself. And the next head is a Shalagram Shila, which is also Krishna. So we see these 4 heads. Many times, I'm sure many of you have just seen those. And it's a little bewildering when you first look at them because you can't quite figure out who's who. But if you come when they're not dressed, and every morning their darshan is open to everyone as they're dressing, then you can see clearly the 4 forms that are there. And then they decorate them very beautifully. But the local people, they all worship her as Durga Ma, of course, today. It's a very dharmic place, Govardhan, where all the ladies and the men, of course, also, they are very much in tune with the devas, because the teachings of Mahaprabhu have not become popular, especially in Govardhan. They're very traditional in their worship, and they very much honor all the devas. So they see her as Durga Ma. So in this temple, it's very beautiful darshan. But then right beside this temple, if you look over the back wall of this temple of Malasi Devi where we're standing, you can have darshan of Brahmakund. Brahmakund is right next door. We just saw on the local map as we walked around, it's right next door here. So this Brahmakund was manifested by the tears of Lord Brahma as he petitioned Giriraj Govardhan to forgive him for the offense of stealing the calves and cowherd boys. So this was the place where he actually petitioned. There's also a Brahmakund in Vrindavan, where the same pastime is described. We should understand that many places, like we have 2 Shirghats, 2 places where Krishna stole the gopis' clothes. And there are many duplicates to these places because in different ages, at different times, then yes, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so here you've got the 4 heads. Oops, went down again. You've got the 4 heads. If you open that up, you can see the first on our right is Durga Ma. Yes, and then the second is her carrier, the tiger. And the third is like Gopal. And the fourth is like a shellagram, a shila. So these four are there. You see the form behind the picture on the wall behind them. This is Durga Ma riding on her carrier, the tiger. So this is Malasi Devi, and we always beg for her kripa. She is capable of pushing away any obstacle that can possibly obstruct us in our parikrama. There are no obstacles for anybody who comes to Govardhan. The atmosphere of Govardhan is remarkable. As I was explaining yesterday, Kali Maharaj cannot enter this atmosphere of Giriraj. Absolutely, he can't get a foot in there. So it has, I can remember there was one devotee, his birthplace was Javat, a brahmachari. He lives in the Giridhari Gaudiya Math, and he's taken a vow to do Govardhan Parikrama every single day for 10 years. So he's already done 10 years and he's on his 12th year circumambulating. A very wonderful devotee. And he said to me one time, we were discussing, and he said, actually, this is the spiritual world. He had that vision. He was appreciating that this is the spiritual world completely. Of course, all of Vrindavan is the spiritual world, but it's much easier to see and appreciate in Govardhan, especially here in Malasi Ganga, where everything is crowded together. All these holy places are very much crowded together. So this is Brahmakund. And in Brahmakund also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's described again in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the Madhya Lila 18th chapter, where Balabhadra Bhattacharya, Mahaprabhu's sevak, who was taking care of him in his journey around, cooked Mahaprabhu's lunch at Brahmakund. And Mahaprabhu, he also takes his bath in Brahmakund. This Brahmakund in particular, my Gurudev was very fond of this Brahmakund. And I was at a meeting one time in Govardhan with many of the elders from the village of Govardhan. And my Gurudev was there, and he was pledging that he wanted to support the renovation of this Brahmakund. And he was very enthusiastically putting forward different ideas to support the renovation of this kund so it doesn't get obscured in history. So there is a foundation, the Braj Foundation, that are regularly upgrading a lot of these pastime places so we can have darshan of them very nicely. So now we're going to leave Brahmakund and we're going to continue our parikrama around. And now we're going to come to Chakaleshwara Mahadeva. And I think that Pujapad Nemi Maharaj should also discuss Sanatana Gosvami at this place, because the two are linked completely together. So we didn't make this arrangement before. This is completely spontaneous. So if our dear Bhaktivedanta Nemi Maharaj would like to include the description of Sanatana Gosvami at this place, then I can finish off with Mukharavinda if he likes, unless he wants to cover those three places. So we can be a little spontaneous here. But these are the three last places we basically have to cover in our parikrama, in our glorification of Manasi Ganga. So now we've come to Chakaleshwara Mahadeva, and Mahadev and the bhajana-kutira of Sanatana Goswami is there together. And then further around, we'll come to Mukharavinda. So, dear Nemi Maharaj, you can decide how you would like to present this. Jai. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hari-bol, Hari-bol. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha. Kripa Sindhabheva Patitanam Pavnibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. Oh, Nemi Maharaj?
Maharaj. Can I just ask a couple of questions before we move on?
Okay.
Thank you. You were beautifully describing the manifestation of Maharishi Ganga from the Himalayas, so that Nanda Baba didn't have to go there. Can you just explain? Sorry, my kind of internal video crashed halfway through your explanation. The rishi that had come to Braj the day before, to
Yes.
tell Nanda Baba about
yeah.
Garuda. Can you just run through the serpent business again?
His name was Sandilya Rishi. This was his name, very great Rishi.
Sandilya.
Who came, Sandilya.
Yeah.
Sandilya Rishi. And he tells the beautiful pastime of how Garuda, he captures a snake, and the snake is still alive, and he's carrying the snake off. And as the snake flies across Ganga Devi, across the river of Ganga, the snake's tail, just for a moment, touches Ganga Devi. And immediately that snake takes the form of a four-armed Vishnu form. And then, to the astonishment of Garuda also, but then Garuda, he then places that personality on his back and then flies with that personality all the way to Vaikuntha. So this is the story that Sandilya Rishi is sharing with the Brijvasis to inspire their devotion of Ganga Devi, which it does to such a degree where they're so enthusiastic, they have to go there, they want to go there. So Krishna, from his meditation, Manasi, from his meditation, he's manifesting Ganga Devi. She comes directly, personally.
Beautiful. And what's the name? The grandson of Krishna.
Brajanaba.
Vajranaba, yeah.
Vajranaba.
Is he the grandson or the great grandson?
Great grandson.
Okay. Are there any books on Leela about him? He sounds extraordinary.
There are so many mentions that he manifested all of the deities, all the principal deities in Braj. And he established the principal locations of worship in Braj. Many, all through the Parikrama book, you see his name is mentioned constantly in reference to that.
He established villages with Brahmanas and like that at the holy places, and dug the ponds also, like Chandra Sarovar he dug, and Prem Sarovar.
Yeah. So
it really makes sense. That makes more sense just in every way. How Mahaprabhu revealed all these places, them having been established in the first place by Vajranaba.
Yes. Mahaprabhu is just uncovering them. They're already there. All the Goswamis are simply uncovering. That's how they discover Govinda Dev. That's how they discover Gopinath. All these personalities. Nataji that we were describing yesterday, that Gopal Nataji. Also, they're all coming from that generation of Brajanaba's manifesting them.
Right.
I just want to mention.
Sorry, Maharaj, go. Yeah.
I was just going to mention to our Nemi Maharaj that if he wants to speak about Sanatana Goswami at Chakaleshwara, we didn't get to discuss this directly, but this is where we're coming to. You don't have to at all. Whatever.
I had already kidnapped Sanatana Goswami.
That's what I thought. So I had already actually decided I'm probably going to do Mukharavinda. So I'd already sort of swatted up on that as well. Okay, we're on track. Is there anything else?
Use WhatsApp.
Just one quick question, and then hand over to Tarun or Maharaj. In that small lane that we go down to, where we see the four heads of Dugrama, the tiger, Gopal, and Shagram. Manasi Devi. We call it Manasi Devi. Is that the name of the temple?
Yes, Manasi Devi. It's very, very small.
Lovely. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
Manasi Devi. It sits just above the bank of Ganga Devi. While we're there, all of the breezes from Mother Ganga, they totally saturate the banks of everywhere we're walking today. So we're walking not only in the atmosphere of Giriraj Govardhan, but also completely bathed in the radiance from Mother Ganga today. This is how we are being affected today. So this is Manasi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Gold Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.
Oh, I have one more question.
Sorry.
You said that the form of Hari-Dev is the Pratibhu form. So where's the original?
The original form is near, what did I say?
Kanpur.
Kanpur. It's near Kanpur. I've forgotten the exact name of the place. Begins with a K, Kuntoli, something like that. But that's where the original form is, and he's worshipped there.
How's Kanpur spelled?
Kanpur is about 600 miles east of where we are. I'll give you the name of the deity after Maharaj has spoken.
Okay.
I just can't remember it right now. But I've never been there personally. Just like Gopal Nathaji is situated in Ujjain, correct? So this other original deity of Hari-deva is situated in this place near Kanpur. All right, I'll find that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your katha. It's really nice with all the pictures. Ramananda Prabhu was the secret man in the background sending through some
Beautiful. He's on it.
emergency darshans.
Yes.
It was really nice to speak alongside, to hear you speak alongside these beautiful pictures. So thank you so much. It was beautiful. And now we're going to go over to Pujapad Nemi Maharaj, who is going to tell us where he's speaking, because to be quite honest, I've lost track now.
I'm lost in Govardhan.
Well, it's very simple parikrama, Tarun. We're just walking around Manasi Ganga. And we've come to the other side now. We've been on the southern bank. Now we've come to the northern sided bank. And there's just three principal places there: Chakaleshwara, Sanatana, and Mukharavinda. Okay.
Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militang Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namani. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namane. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Gaura Prishtaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Vigyan Harti Iti Namane. Vancha Kalpataribhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyacha Putitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanandam Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Of my humble obeisances, lotus feet, my beloved Diksha Guru, Nityalil Bhavishti Shishima Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. Beloved Shikshan Sannyas Guru, Rupanugavara Shishima Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Beloved Shiksha Guru, Shri Bhakti Vigyam Bharati Maharaj, lotus feet of all our Rupanuga Guru Varga. And my Dandavats, all devotees, headed by our Tridandigan, Pujapad Shri Tridandi Maharaj, and all senior members. Hare Krishna. So we're very fortunate to be performing Vraja-mandala Parikrama under the guidance of our beloved Srila Gurudev, very much in his spirit. He's following the instructions of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. He continued the Parikrama, especially Gauramanda Parikrama, after the disappearance of Srila Saraswati Prabhupada, and many of the functions of the Gaudiya Math collapsed, basically. And Srila Keshav Maharaj, he revived many important functions. So we're very fortunate our Gurudev is uniquely Tatvik and Rasik and loving. So we're very fortunate to be coming in this line in his mood and under the direction of his representatives. Hare Krishna. So we come to Chakratirtha, or now called Chakaleshwara. Chakra refers to, not obviously, but it refers to Shivji's trident. So here's Chakaleshwara Mahadeva, Chakrisha Mahadeva. So there's two explanations. One is that when Indradev tried to destroy Vraj, and Krishna lifted up Giriraj Govardhan on the pinky of his left hand. So Shivji, who's residing here, he sent his trident. That's one explanation. Or he requested the Krishna's chakra. In any case, over the top of Govardhan, there was a great protective layer. And the rain clouds, Samvartak, destruction rain clouds, they couldn't touch Govardhan. So here, Chakrisha Mahadeva resides, and he's very dearly beloved of Sanatana Gosvami. So we'll see in a minute. We'll see Sri Sanatana Goswami's bhajana-kutira. Excuse me a minute. Sorry. Right. So the question arises, who is Lord Shiva? Many regard him as a demigod. Many Shiva worship, Shaivites, they worship him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in the Shastras, this is described, this is actually an offense. And many Vaishnavas, devotees, unfortunately disrespect Shivji as a demigod. So some people elevate him to the status of the Supreme Lord, and some reduce his status and say he's just a demigod. He's not just a demigod. Shiv Tattva is actually a unique Tattva. Brahmaji is generally a Jiv, maybe sometimes Vishnu, Krishna Vishnu, may take the part of Lord Brahma if there's no qualified Jiv to be seen. But Shivji is above Brahmaji. So in Sri Brahma Samhita, it's explained that for the purpose of pastime, specifically for the purpose of manifesting the material world, Krishna accepts a subordinate dependent form. So there, Shambhu is not a separate Lord independent of Sri Krishna. And it's offensive to think that he is. He is a Lord, and but he's subordinate to, he's subordinate to and dependent on Sri Govinda's overlordship. So they're actually then different from each other. But just as milk is not different from yogurt, but at the same time, there's a difference. So milk is transformed to yogurt by a transforming agent. And similarly, of course, Krishna is not transformed into Shiv, but he takes on a separate form in union with a special transforming agent. And here's the transforming agent. So it's a mixture of material energy, Tatashta energy, and the internal energy. So Srila Gurudev says, in this case, the special transforming agent is constituted of a mixture of Maya's aspect of the mode of ignorance, so that's the material energy, the non-plenitude or minuteness aspect of the marginal potency, that's us. So non-plenitude means not full, or minuteness aspect of the marginal potency, and a slight degree of the combined knowledge, samvit, and bliss, hladini, in other words, Shuddha Sattva, aspects of the transcendental potency. So the effulgent subordinate controller in the form of Shambhulinga being united with this special transforming agent is constitutionally the semblance of an expansion of the Supreme Godhead. Wow. So, and then later on, Srila Gurudev says, this Shambhu is a separated expansion imbued with the mood of a plenary expansion. And he's also known as Kalapurush, the personified time factor. So Shiv Tattva is very complex for me. And Srila Gurudev was very, very affectionate towards Lord Shiva. Southern Vaishnavas, they want, for example, Ramanujacharya, he criticized the Pandas in Puri because they were not following strictly Shastric injunctions. And he found himself evicted from Puri and ended up in a temple, and he thought it was a Shiv temple. He was very, very deeply disturbed. It turned out that it was, I can't remember which Vishnu Tattva, but it was a temple of Vishnu Tattva. So Southern Vaishnavas, they wouldn't even go near Shiv temple. Vaishnavas, we understand Shivji in this Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. And Shivji, he's protecting the Dham in many places. For example, in Mayapur, there's a little temple behind the big temple with Shivalingams. And there's this huge Shivalingam in place of, what's the name of the market? In Navadvip. And I remember in Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math also, as you come into the Math, then there's a separate Shivji as Dham. He's protecting the Dham. So Shivji is very much a part of our Vaishnava culture. Sometimes he forgets that Krishna is a Supreme Personality Godhead, and then Krishna very kindly chastises him. So Chakreshwara is situated on Parangagat. Parangagat is the place where gopis would cross over Manasi Ganga. At that time it was a river. Now it's a very self-contained lake. I remember early on in our Braj adventure with our Srila Gurudev, when walking along the road beside Manasi Ganga, the water was right up to our, like it was over our feet, halfway up our legs. So the water table has gone down spectacularly already in those few years. But originally, Gurudev said it was Manasi Ganga was a river. So they're very beautiful boat pastimes. And one such pastime, the gopis want to get across the river. They want to get across Manasi Ganga. And they want a boat. And eventually a boat comes, but he's a very strange boatman. Very strange boatman. All sorts of strange things he's saying. And the boat also is quite dilapidated, unusually dilapidated boat. So he says, anyway, I'll take you across. The gopis get in with their pots of yogurt and milk products. And the boatman starts rowing the boat, poling the boat across. And the boat's leaking. And then there's a storm coming. And it's quite a difficult situation. And the boatman says, listen, this is an old boat. I don't think we're going to get to the other side. Your pots of yogurt are very heavy. You'll have to throw it. So they'll throw the pots of yogurt over. And then he says, look, you know, you're all very chaste ladies. You have these very heavy anklets on. I think these are weighing the boat down. You're going to have to throw those anklets over. And in the meantime, the boatman is rocking the boat and rocking the boat. And the gopis acting like alarmed, frightened ladies. In the end, Srimati Radhika holds on to the boatman to just to be steady. And the boatman, of course, is Krishna. And he arranged the whole thing just to provoke this kind of interaction. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is described in his Govardhanashtakam. My Guru Maharaj, he liked this pastime. He said that, I don't know, it's the same pastime or another pastime. So Krishna came with a boat and the boat's rocking and rocking and rocking, and in the end, the boat actually capsizes, and they're all thrown into the water, and the water's only like knee deep. And he was laughing. He said, humor in the spiritual world is like Charlie Chaplin. So in modern times, that's a film with Charlie Chaplin. In modern times, Charlie Chaplin escapes with some lovely lady, and they find this incredibly dilapidated house. She's living in the house, and he's living in the dog kennel outside. So in the morning, he gets up and he goes for a dip, and he dives into the lake, and the lake's just that high. My Guru Maharaj, he really liked that. On one occasion, his servant was flying with him. It was a night flight. So the servant was sleeping, and he woke up, and there was a Charlie Chaplin film playing, and Prabhupada was laughing till he cried. He had a very special sense of humor. Early on in the days in San Francisco. So he was telling the devotees that once upon a time, there was a British lord, and he wanted a servant. So there was an Indian man, he wanted to get the job as a servant, but he didn't speak English. But his friend said, it's okay. You just go along, and sometimes you say, yes, and sometimes you say, no, and sometimes you say, very good. So, so the man went to the Lord, and the Lord said, you want to get the job? Yes. Are you going to steal from me? No. Okay, you can have the job. Very good. So he's working, and then on one occasion, somebody stole something. Somebody else stole something from the Englishman. So the Englishman calls this person in. Prabhupada's telling this story, right, to these early devotees. So the Englishman calls the man in. He says, somebody has stolen something. Have you stolen it? Yes. Will you give it back? No. You're fired. Get out of here. Very good. So Prabhupada is telling this story, and the devotees, they couldn't understand, why Prabhupada, what's that got to do with the absolute truth? Prabhupada had a very special sense of humor. One time he was in the kitchen in Krishna Balaram Mandir with his sister Pishima. So they had a very, very affectionate relationship. And obviously going back to childhood. And the daughter of the Pujari was there. Omkar, my godbrother Omkar. So his daughter was there. She didn't speak Bengali. So Prabhupada and Pishima, they were just joking and joking and joking. And time to time, she'd say, what are you saying? Prabhupada, what are you saying? What are you saying? And in the end, Pishima said something, and they both just cracked up. They're just laughing hysterically. And she said, Prabhupada, what are you saying? What are you saying? So this time, Prabhupada's like, international guru. He's got a successful spiritual movement all over the world. And he said, Pishima said, I bet you wish you were a little boy trying to get your kite to fly again. Such a special humor. Very, very, very different. So here we are in Chakrisha Mahadeva. And next to Chakrisha Mahadeva is Sanatana Goswami's bhajana-kutira. So Sanatana Goswami also, time to time, he used to perform bhajan here. And Sanatana Goswami is very, very affectionate to Shivji. Just like we see, for example, in Vrindavan. So Sanatana Goswami regularly, he used to take Darshan of Gopishwara Mahadeva. Gopishwara, not Gopeshwar. Gopeshwar means the Lord of the Gopes. Once we were in Shri Chaitanya Gaudiya Mat, and I was leading Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna, and I sang Gopeshwara Mahadeva. And this old brahmachari there, he was going past, he said, Gopishwar, Lord of the Gopis, not Lord of the Gopis, of whom the Gopis are Lord. After all, the Gopis are slapping his cheeks, right? Don't do that to your Lord. So when Sanatana Goswami got old, Gopisha Mahadev said, look, it's too far for you to be walking all the time. Sanatana Goswami said, no, I've made this vow. So then Shivji actually manifested as Bankani Mahadev. So Bankani Mahadev is quite close to our Rup Sanatana Gaudiya Math. Gopisha Mahadev is quite distant, it's a good stretch, but Bankani Mahadev is really quite close. So Shivji and Sanatana Goswami, they had this very affectionate relationship. Sanatana Goswami was meditating here, performing his bhajan, but it's a lake and there's so many mosquitoes and they were getting really, really troublesome. So in the end, he decided, I'm going to have to leave here. So then Gopisha Mahadev, Chakaleshwara Mahadeva, Shivji, appeared to him in the form of a Brahmana. And he said, please don't leave. Your presence is so much desired here. You can be sure that there'll be no more mosquitoes. So after that, there were no mosquitoes there, no more mosquitoes. So, yeah, Sanatana Goswami is performing bhajan here on the banks of Manasi Ganga. Manasi Ganga, because all the Brajbasis, they took bath here. So Manasi Ganga is like the Charanamrita of all the Brajbasis put together. And so it's a very, very, very sacred place, very wonderful place, very beautiful place. Coming down from, I'm just going to lead us into Mukharavinda, and then I'm going to leave that for Sridandi Maharaj. So coming down, there's like a causeway along the side of Manasi Ganga, and then we come into Mukharavinda, a very special place. Tongue. And this is like meditation. This is something we came with Srila Gurudev on one occasion from Shri Giriraj, Radha Giriraj Gaudiya Math. And this was before the Parikrama started. It was on a special time. There weren't so many of us. So we came down the path towards Manasi Ganga. And now coming down that path and offering obeisances to Manasi Ganga, and then turning right along that path, we went into Mukharavinda, which Sridandi Maharaj will describe. And there's a concrete platform in the middle. Now they use it a lot for stacking coconuts, but it was empty at that time. And Srila Gurudev went and he sat on the platform, and we were all arranged around him in front. And he said, now your whole journey in the material world is successful, because now you've come to Mukharavinda in Govardhan at the time of Kartik. So your lives are successful, everything is successful. You're very, very, very fortunate. Hare Krishna. So with that, I'm going to leave over to Shri Chidandi Maharaj. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu bhavata putitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Maharaj. As you said, Shiva Tattva is very complex. It certainly is, but I feel like every time I hear someone explain Shiva Tattva, I just get a little bit closer to finally beginning to grasp it. But thank you so much. I think I've heard you tell about Srila Prabhupada and his love of Charlie Chaplin. Very sweet, very sweet. And has made me reappreciate Charlie Chaplin. I wonder if he liked the Marx Brothers as well.
The best one is Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton.
He's much funnier than Charlie Chaplin. Amazing adventures. I mean, really, you just crack up. He's just so amazing. Anyway, that's completely aside from what we're talking about.
Very well. Thank you so much, Maharaj. I think you have someone waiting in the flanks who is about to bombard you with questions.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm going to.
One time we were in Russia. So Shamarani was bombarding Srila Gurudev with questions. He said, I think your body is made of questions. And she just completely calmly said, yes, fortunately for us, your body is made of answers. Which I thought was really cheeky.
Well, Maharaj, we're from the same tribe, so.
Well, maybe. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Maharaj. Maybe I missed it, but and thank you again. Beautiful, beautiful pastimes, Harikatha. Chakaleshwara Mahadeva. Why did he appear? Why did he? The Leela with the gopis was beautiful, but what's the connection with Mahadev?
Mahadev sent his chakra. Either he sent his trident as a chakra.
Oh.
To protect Giriraj Govardhan when Indra was deluging Giriraj Govardhan, or he requested Krishna's chakra to come. But one way or another, he's okay. Chudani Maharaj, unmute him, give him the power of speech.
The Trishul of Mahadev was rotating like a chakra above and deflecting all of the thunderbolts from Indra. And Krishna's chakra, with its huge heat, was evaporating the enormous amount of water that was falling simultaneously. So between the two of them, they made a pretty good team.
Wow. Like a heated windscreen wiper.
You could say. But the two of them together were in total sync. But the twirling of the Trishul was deflecting those thunderbolts of Indra, and the heat of the chakra evaporating all the water, so it didn't overflow into the underground palace, we can say, that Govardhan revealed for the residents to take shelter of. There.
And is there a deity of Chakaleshwara Mahadeva there in that place?
Yeah. Yeah, Shivalingam.
Yeah.
There's a picture. I think we looked at the picture.
Yeah, we saw a picture at the beginning of when I was speaking.
Maharaj, that wonderful story, I've heard it before, but it made me laugh even more today. The one about yes, no.
Yes, no, very good.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You left me on tenterhooks because you said that revealed something about the absolute truth. What exactly?
No, Srila Prabhupada was telling this to, I heard this from, actually, she was the first lady devotee in San Francisco, and she was the first lady to have a child in the movement. So she was there, and she said Prabhupada was telling this story to the devotees, right? And they're thinking, what's that got to do with the absolute truth? You know, why is Swamiji telling this joke? And he's supposed to be a spiritual Swami, and he's telling this joke. I don't get it. It's really funny.
Oh, maybe it's just the fact that hey guys, there is actually humor in the transcendental world. We don't have to be all so po-faced all the time, right?
Yeah. This is
I
a
heard that
connection.
nobody really got Prabhupada's jokes except the toilet jokes.
But Maharaj was telling this joke in connection with when the boat tipped up and just the water was ankle high.
Yeah.
So that type of humor is also in, you know, we demonstrate in the material world through Charlie Chaplin, etc. It's a similar sort of
yeah. And then
direct humor.
Who you briefly touched upon the mosquito story in Bankani Mahadev. What's the speciality of Bankani Mahadev?
Bankani Mahadev. So Bankani Mahadev, there's a temple of Bankani Mahadev. If you come out of Rup Sanatana Gosvami on the side entrance, turn right up the gully, and then turn left up Bankani Mahadev, whatever it's called. And then at the end, there's a three-way junction, and there's a temple of Bankani Mahadev there. So Bankani Mahadev manifested to make things easier for Srila Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami, as he was aging. So we know that. I don't know if it's been told somewhere or other. That, yeah, it has, I mentioned. So Krishna himself manifests a stone with his own footprint, the mark of a flute and the mark of a cow. So similarly, Gopisha Mahadev kind of expanded as Bankani Mahadev, so that Sanatana Goswami didn't have to walk so far to take darshan.
Beautiful. So a very merciful form of Shiva.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, sorry, one last question. Mukharavinda, the last place, and that was really beautiful how you presenced us with Srila Gurudev saying, now your life is successful. What's the link to that place? What's the rasta?
Link to
We're just going to hear it in a minute.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay.
Sridhani Maharaj is going to recount everything.
He's already asking the questions before you start.
Beautiful, beautiful. A seamless team, and I'll mute myself now and let you get on with it.
No, great. Thank you, Shoda.
When they at the beginning, you know, he said it's nap time, and I thought he was going to say that Sridhani Maharaj was going to have a nap. He said it's nap time. It was like after lunch for him.
We do have some Maharajas that we phone half an hour before to make sure that they're not asleep. So yeah.
I was on my bike. Hare Krishna.
Dandavats Maharaj. Wonderful. Wonderful. Hari-bol. Gurave Gaura Chandaraya Radhikai Tadaliye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tada Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. So our parikrama is continuing. We've just glorified Chakaleshwara Mahadeva and Sanatana Gosvami. These beautiful pastimes right here. It's always the pastimes of the great Vaishnavas and devotees that are most illuminating for bringing us into the actual Leela. Because Sanatana Goswami resided here, this makes all the Vaishnavas very anxious to also reside close to these banks and also perform bhajan to the best of their ability and to follow in the footsteps of these great personalities. So Sanatana Goswami is inspiring so many to take shelter of Manasi Devi, Manasi Ganga. But now as we walk around back on the road and we come just towards the end of our parikrama now today, we come to this beautiful temple of Mukharavinda. This Mukharavinda sits, as we've had many pictures so far, right in the forefront of the Manasi Ganga. Yes, it's you can just get a shot of just the temple first. Maybe Tarunji? Maybe you don't have it. Yes, that's it. So you see how elegant this beautiful temple is. I remember when this temple is very recent, because I can remember when they were building it, which was probably late 80s, 90s, when they were actually building these spires. Previously, it was very dilapidated, but then they built it. This beautiful temple. So as you physically enter Manasi Ganga, which is directly where we are standing in relationship to this temple on the other side of Manasi Ganga Lake, this is what we see, the beautiful face. This is the face directly of Giriraj Govardhan. So it's described that the face is like a cow, and a cow with its face, when a cow is resting, you'll see very often the cow will put its face right into its stomach. So the cow's nozzle is resting on its own stomach. So Manasi Ganga is like the stomach of Govardhan. So the face is also there. This picture we're looking at now demonstrates my Gurudev's devotion to Giriraj, Maharaj. And I described yesterday how every single time he ever came out to Govardhan, he would immediately go and perform Abhishek of Giriraj in this way. So this is very, very pleasing to Giriraj. And this place of Mukharavinda, where we're seeing Srila Gurudev do this Abhishek, is the traditional place where you go to get the direct mercy of Giriraj by performing this direct Abhishek to his face. So every single day of the year, millions and millions, or throughout the year rather, millions of pilgrims are continuously soaking Giriraj's beautiful face in fresh cow milk. So everything in this atmosphere is so auspicious. We've noticed in many of the footages that we've been watching, there are cows everywhere. So there is abundant milk everywhere. Still today, this is 5,000 years after Sri Krishna. Can we imagine what it was like when Krishna was actually present with his unlimited numbers of cows grazing on the banks of Govardhan? How much milk there must have been flowing in the vicinity, and how generous is Giriraj himself, supplying all the fruits and the grasses and the water, etc., for the nourishment of the cows. So this mood of munificence, of generosity, of open-hearted, of festivity, of sweetness, these are the moods that abound in Giriraj. As I said initially, a couple of days ago or so, there's always kirtan going on here. There's always music of some sort. It's very, very beautiful, but particularly when we step into this temple area of Mukharavinda. And we would traditionally come with Srila Gurudev through a back entrance that comes from the pathway where we've just come from Chakaleshwara Mahadeva. We'd all crowd down a narrow corridor and come in and purchase some clay pots of milk and offer our milk directly ourselves. There will be a Brahmin who is officiating, sitting just off to the side, but all the devotees could come in quite happily. And this is Bankani Mahadev again that we're looking at. Gone again, okay. So this is the nature of Mukharavinda here. And it's a very large area that we can circumambulate very simply. It's a big space, and you can take a whole roaring kirtan around these beautiful shilas of Govardhan and capture the atmosphere and speciality. But Mukharavinda is the face. Mukha means face. So this is the face of Giriraj. Himself, herself is right here. And we see in the dynamic of the lake how elegant is the temple standing in that fashion. So it's the first central point for the eye, just like the face of someone that you meet. The first central point is the eye. So all of these descriptions of the personality of Giriraj, we're talking about materially a rock mountain. And yet we've described him, her, in so many personal ways. So this is to give the sadhak great nishta and faith in the personal or personality of these forms that manifested for Krishna and Sri Radhika's pleasure. So we know that everything in Vrindavan is saturated in personality. So certainly Giriraj Govardhan has his own powerful, vast personality. I was fortunate to reside here for about 4 years, just not so long ago. And I lived very close to this Mukharavinda temple. And they have a loudspeaker 24 hours a day, non-stop, repeating. It really becomes irritating after a while. But it's directly on the Parikrama path, and the present Indian culture is very much trying to coerce all the pilgrims to come in to this Mukharavinda temple and perform their milk puja, their offering of puja. So this tannoy, this speaker, would be up 24 hours a day, non-stop. And it was on a loop. The recording was on a loop. And in the end, it was just like on a loop in my head. You know, it was, but somehow the Indian locals, they are able to tolerate very easily this kind of thing. But for a Western imported mind, it's not quite so simple to put up with that. But it just goes on but of course, after some time, you just blank it out and you're not really hearing it. But nevertheless, but what I'm sharing with you is the sound vibration of the whole of the place where we are. It's always buzzing, like our beautiful kirtaniyas tonight. You know, that kind of exuberant mood is very much the flavor of where we are today and where we're going. And my Gurudev would epitomize this flavor so much himself. My Gurudev was the greatest Brijabasi. He was a pure Brijabasi. And all the local Brijabasis instantly resonated with him and recognized this mood of completely, we can say, out of the box type of expressions. He would dance when he felt inspired. He would just move the way he felt inspired. He was just living in a very centered heart place. And all the Brijbasis would immediately resonate with that. When we would do the parikramas, so many old ladies or so many old gentlemen would immediately come to Gurudev, and my Gurudev would welcome them as if he'd known them all his life. Some of them he had known for a long time, like our Pujari that you see in some of the pictures here, this tall, his name was Govardhan. He's left his body now, but his father was the one who sheltered my Gurudev when my Gurudev came here alone. When he left his mutt for some time, for 3 or 4 weeks, and just came to Govardhan to perform bhajan, then the father of this Pujari was the one who fed him rotis every day, daily. And simultaneously, this personality of Govardhan, his son, was also very generous-hearted like that. This is all reflecting the generosity of Giriraj himself. Everything is in abundance. So this mood of abundance is very much part of the Braja pastime, the Braja flavor. It's like that there is no, not even a scent of miserliness or anything of that nature. So I think really Manasi Ganga is just overflowing with this kind of mood and atmosphere. So we're very blessed to be here at this Mukharavinda, and coming here, and we circumambulate and we offer our milk preparations here. And also you can offer, of course, yogurt here, and you can offer sugar, chini, and other substances you can offer simultaneously, and beg for the mercy to have no material desires at all, except want to please our beloved Srimati Radhika, to become her Palyadasi in some future lifetime. So this would be the benediction that Srila Gurudev would train us to constantly be requesting, because as I said yesterday, Krishna is always running behind us, wanting to fulfill our various desires. So we have to be very careful. What is our desire? We are very lucky to come in this line, because if we're not hearing this, this guidance, then you might begin to think, well, all my material desires will be fulfilled, and they will be fulfilled also, but it won't get us to transcendence. So we don't want to go that route. So now we've come to the end of our parikrama today, and we're going to go just behind this Mukharavinda temple and come back onto the general Parikrama marg, and we're going to come around to the junction where we began. So now today we have circumambulated the whole of Manasi Ganga, which is so auspicious for us. And we can take a bath now, or unless we took a bath at the beginning of our parikrama. Very often when we do the Govardhan parikrama, especially in the summertime, we come and bathe in the beautiful waters of Manasi Ganga. And it is miraculous, believe me. Even if your legs are aching, your feet are sore, your body's hot, The very second you bathe in Ganga Devi, you're totally, totally relieved of any physical tiredness at all. It is really miraculous. It's the same here in Navadvip when you bathe in Mother Ganga here. It's the same dynamic, we can say, that all the little niggles that might be pervading the mental consciousness, our material consciousness, get completely washed away. Every time we bathe in Mother Ganga, she is so potent and powerful. So to have the opportunity to bathe in her, especially during this month of Kartik. During this month of Kartik, everything is multiplied by hundreds and thousands of times, and especially under the guidance of a Rasik Vaishnava Tattvavit Guru. Then no doubt all of the potency is going to penetrate into the deepest recesses of our hearts for our great satisfaction and joy. So Malasi Devi ki jai, Malasi Ganga ki jai, Vraja-mandala Parikrama ki jai, Govardhan Parikrama ki jai, Mukharavinda ki jai, Chakaleshwara Mahadeva ki jai, Sanatana Gosvami, bhajana-kutira ki jai, Malasi Devi ki jai, Hari-deva ki jai, Brahmakund ki jai. Anything else? No, I think that's all the places. Jai, Vraja-mandala ki jai, Gold Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhavevcha, patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavevya.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Sorry, I just had to reply to someone. That was beautiful, really nice. What an auspicious day of this Manasi Ganga Parikrama. So nice to be in Govardhan, and now these things that you're expressing, the unique mercy of Govardhan, I'm realizing, oh yes, when I was there, what a wonderful, peaceful atmosphere. One thing I noticed personally was, although the monkeys were the same monkeys as the monkeys in Vrindavan, they seemed far more relaxed in Govardhan. Is this just me?
No, they haven't been trained. The monkeys in Vrindavan are schooled in how to steal glasses, how to snatch bags directly from people, how to be much more vicious. But in Govardhan, remarkably, it's an interesting point, Taranji, that they have not been trained that way. You can walk around in your spectacles. You're not harassed at all in this, although there are lakhs and lakhs of monkeys there, so many monkeys, but they're nothing like the violent. You know, there's like 2 or 3 deaths per month in Vrindavan because of monkeys. It's not a light matter at all. People fall off roofs, or they get physically attacked, or they get, bitten and they don't take a tetanus shot, etc. But 2 or 3 every single month. But in Govardhan, it's not like that. So it's very true. It's an interesting point that you brought up. It's really true.
Once I came in an auto rickshaw to Gopinath Bhavan, and as I was getting stationary, a monkey came in. I grabbed my glass at the same time, but he was just too quick. He got my glasses, jumped on the roof. I looked up at him. He was just laughing at me, holding the glasses. Yeah. And then the retailer, the wallah who was just selling some crisps or whatever, he then did a trade with the monkey. So I gave the wallah some rupees, who gave the monkey some bananas or nuts or whatever, who gave the glasses back, and I gave the wallah some money. And then I realized it was a complete con job.
Yeah.
they were in total cahoots. It was,
yes,
yeah. And I didn't mind getting ripped off because it was so hilarious. But,
yeah.
Maharaj,
it's true, Yashoda.
What happened to Yama Dīpa-dāna?
Who?
Yama Dīpa-dāna.
So very nice, Yashoda. Yes, today we are celebrating, offering the dweeps, the lamps, today in celebration during Kartik because Ganga Devi manifested in this month of Kartik. She manifested in this month of Kartik. And this is celebrated every year by all the local Govardhan Vasis to offer a dweep to Malasi Ganga. So today, for the next 3 or 4 days, because this festival runs into Deepavali, so there's many, many reasons why we offer the lamps: for the return of Ram to Ayodhya, for the celebration of Ram's victory in Lanka, and also for the manifestation of Ganga Devi. This is another reason for offering the lamps. So this dweep today, this Yama dweep today, begins, and it goes for 5 days. And on our Parikrama, every single evening, Srila Gurudev would lead us, all the devotees, and we would all carry ghee-wick lamps. And it was such a extraordinary, astonishing experience to be standing there with thousands and thousands of people and seeing on the dark night of the Amavasya now, like now the moon is down. It's in that month, that part of the month. So the sky overhead is darkened, but it's totally illuminated by thousands and thousands of lamps floating on Manasi Ganga. It's very, very extraordinary.
So our mood is to be offering that in honor of the fact that Radha manifested herself in Kartik,
As well as the manifestation of Ganga Devi on this day. She also came on this day. For so many reasons, Yashoda. For our great fortune of just being in Braj. And we have the same celebration also on Bahulastami in Radha-kund. The Brijvasis, they have most wonderful ways to serve the Lord in such festive ways. Nothing Aishwarya like we described yesterday when the demigods come with all their great big chamras, etc. The joy of dance and kirtan is prominent amongst the Brijvasis. And Gurudev would exemplify this. Very much so.
Well, before you showed us another one of his
I think he's done.
He's done. Okay, well, Jiva Pavan Prabhu has another monkey anecdote to share with us.
Just very quickly, and it's a little late, but when I was in India in the early days before the big parikramas, I was either on the roof of Srila Gurudev's temple or the roof of a Dauji Mandir I was staying in across from Seva Kunj. But anyway, what I remember is this: I all of a sudden from behind me, a huge monkey jumped on my shoulders. I could feel the weight, and he reached over and he grabbed my glasses. But in those days, I used to wear a black strap around the back of my glasses just to keep the glasses on my face so they wouldn't fall off. You know? So when he pulled them, they came back and hit me in the face. And the monkey was like so surprised by what happened that he jumped away and he stood there looking at me. What was that about? Anyway,
Yeah.
Story, but your story.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So many monkey stories. Go ahead. Tarun's got a monkey story probably
saw
too.
Someone purchase, they'd just gone to the banana walla and they'd purchased like a big bag of bananas, and just as they'd finished paying, Monkey ran up behind him, snatched the whole bag and ran off. He didn't even run particularly far. He just ran slightly out of reach and then started eating them, but far away enough that if the guy had started coming after him, he would have just took it off again. It was very harsh for this guy. Midori is next with her monkey story. We're actually ahead of time, so we do have time.
Let me tell one. Jump in, a quick one. Can I?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Oh, there was a time when someone they threw a rock at the monkey, and it hit the monkey. This was in Loy Bazaar, and all the other monkeys, they became very agitated because there was blood on this monkey that was hit with a rock. So the locals, they immediately grabbed the person who had thrown the rock, and they rolled up a newspaper and they started beating the head of that person. And then all the monkeys saw this, and then they thought, very good, and then they left. They thought that the person who had thrown the rock had got beaten, so they were happy. So, you know, we're talking about the relationship here, as Yashoda mentioned also, between the locals and the monkeys. It's uncanny. But anyway.
So they weren't hitting him very hard. It just looked
No,
like...
well, it was just with a rolled up newspaper. They were just showing, you know, a demonstration of judgment. You know, justice was being performed. They knew why they were all so agitated. They were empathizing with the monkeys and letting them know that they were sorry that one of them had been hit with a stone.
Yes. So I came only to Vrindavan and Govardhan because I came late to the Vaishnavas. And I also had my glasses stolen right at the beginning of the trip. And when I got them back, there was an actual bite mark in the middle of the lens, and he chewed off one of the earpieces. So the blessing, I want to say the monkeys can be a blessing, because I was sent off to a place where they make glasses, and I got the only pair I have ever had of 30-day contact lenses that I could wear, because I have a really difficult time with contact lenses. So for all of Kartik, I had the best vision I have ever had.
Very nice. Jai.
Just another quick one. I was, you know, when Srila Gurudev used to give his classes at Mathura, it was very, very crowded, and you had to kind of like vie for a good place. And somehow or other, I found myself on a window ledge where the window was open, a window ledge near Gurudev. So I was very close to Gurudev, and Gurudev was speaking, but this huge monkey came practically right alongside and in front of me on the ledge. There was a bit of a gate, but he could easily reach and touch me. I could easily reach and touch him. And Srila Gurudev, without missing a second, didn't even turn around to look at me. Or he just leaned back and he said, "Don't worry, no harm." And then he kept going with his lecture. Because I was like terrified, you know, because of a previous experience. And this looked like a really large one, you know. But Gurudev, he knew, and he leaned back and he said, "Don't worry, no harm," as if the monkey had come to listen or something like that.
Ah, very sweet, very sweet.
And we sat there together for the rest of the lecture. I was there, monkey was there.
Wow, amazing.
Amazing,
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those monkeys are really big. They look like, some of them are very muscular as well. They look like they just go to the gym every day or something, because they've got like very big biceps, and they look like they lift weights or something. I need to go find out where these monkeys work out.
There was also a section of Vrindavan where the rickshaws would go by very often with Western devotees on the way to Lloyd Bazaar. And there was this one monkey that used to like to hang out on the telephone wires and urinate on the you can look up and you can see his monkey was like laughing in his own way, just urinating on their way to Lloyd Bazaar.
Horrible. I hate monkeys. I don't like them at all. For so many years, every window had to be barricaded, every door had to be barricaded. Every time you looked around, you only had to think about monkeys. I can remember staying in LA, and I was eating a watermelon outside, and I was paranoid about a monkey coming, because I had this built-in, like, you know, conditioning that you can't eat fruits outside. Anyway. But the monkeys here in Mayapur are quite different. These beautiful Hanuman monkeys, they are splendorous. They come like royal sages. They don't harass at all, and they're very gentle, and they're very well behaved, and a totally different, refined being of monkey. They're really honored by the local people. One just died in my garden before, and the locals immediately got an ambali together and hired a rickshaw, took it down to the Ganga, cremated the body even, and put it in the Ganga. They bought the wood and everything, and very reverentially, you know, put the ashes into the Ganga. So they really respect them here.
Wow. Amazing. Very well.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so we've come to the end of our program, I think, unless... Yeah, we had a little bonus excerpt that took us to exactly 12 o'clock to give Ramananda a little bit.
By the way, Tarun, before you go on, I won't do another story because we're done, but Prabhupada and Gurudev were both born in the year of the monkey, just to bring it onto a Chinese level. In the Chinese year, both of them.
That's interesting. That's 1921. No.
Well, actually, Gurudev, but Gurudev is before the Chinese New Year, so it's 1920 and 1896.
86, yes, 1896, yeah. Hanumanji ki jai.
So now all we have time left is to thank everyone and for Kirtan. So thank you especially to Pujapad Tridandi Maharaj and Pujapad Nemi Maharaj for speaking. Thank you for all those organizers who arrange the program, who are arranging the pictures. Thank you especially to Yashodanandan Prabhu and also to Janardhan Prabhu who put together a beautiful video. And thank you especially to the Kirtaniers who are performing beautiful Kirtan at the start and end of our programs to really help us stay engaged and absorbed. We now have our dear most Sriman Ramananda Prabhu, who will be singing a beautiful Kirtan, which I will be sharing my screen of.
Thank you to Krishna's cheeky monkeys. Namadali Laki Jai.
Yeah.
Ramananda, are you there? I can't hear you. I can't hear you, but you're not on mute. Why can't I hear you, Ramananda? I'm going to mute you and unmute you again. Please stand by for technical difficulties. Yeah, I can't hear you. I can see your mouth moving. Why can't I hear you? Is it just me? Can someone else confirm?
What about now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Aha, I think I was connected to a Bluetooth or something. Okay, I was going to say quickly one monkey story that I heard from Vichitridi before I start singing. Everyone got to tell one, so I just got one. It's a nice one. She was sitting outside with Srila Gurudev, and somebody offered oranges to Gurudev. A monkey was coming from behind, which she didn't know. Gurudev grabbed one orange with a hand, and with the foot, he kicked the monkey away, and the monkey got scared and left, and he had this look on his face like, I just did that. Okay. Shri Govardhana Maharaj, Maharaj, Teri mathe mukuta viraj rayo. Shri Govardhana Maharaj, Maharaj, Tere mathe mukuta viraj rayo. तेरे कानन कुंडल सोए रहे, तेरे कानन कुंडल सोए रहे, और गले बैजंती माला, ओह माला तेरी माथे मुकुट विराज रयो. श्री गोवर्धन महाराज, महाराज, तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज रयो. तेरे मुख पे मुरलिया सोए रही, तेरे मुख पे मुरलिया सोए रही, थोरी पे हीरा लाल, हीरा लाल, तेरे माथे Mukuta Virajarayo Shri Govardhana Maharaj Maharaj Tere Mathe Mukuta Virajarayo अंग में जामा केसरिया तेरे अंग में जामा केसरिया और पतका लाल गुलाल ओ गुलाल तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज रयो श्री गोवर्धन महाराज महाराज तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज रयो तो पे पान चढ़े और फूल चढ़े तो पे पान चढ़े और फूल चढ़े तो पे दिए जा रे दिन रात तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज रयो श्री गोवर्धन महाराज महाराज तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज रयो तेरे मानसी गंगा निकट बहे तेरे मानसी गंगा निकट बहे तेरे मानसी गंगा निकट बहे तो पे चढ़े दूध की धार ओ धार तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज रयो श्री गोवर्धन महाराज महाराज तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज रयो 7 क्रोश की परिक्रमा तेरी 7 क्रोश की परिक्रमा तेरी 7 क्रोश की परिक्रमा और चकलेश्वर विश्राम विश्राम तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज रयो श्री गोवर्धन महाराज महाराज तेरी माथे मुकुट विराज रयो श्री गोवर्धन महाराज महाराज तेरे माथे मुकुट विराज रयो जय गिरिराज जय गिरिराज जय गिरिराज जय जय गिरिराज जय जय गिरिराज जय जय गिरिराज जय गिरिराज जय जय गोवर्धन जय गिरिराज जय गोवर्धन गिरिराज जय गोवर्धन जय गिरिराज जय गोवर्धन गिरिराज जय गोवर्धन श्री गिरिराज महाराज की जय
Jai. Thank you, Ravananda Prabhu. Like, I always saw that kirtan in the songbook, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone sing this kirtan. So this may be my first time hearing this kirtan, or maybe they did, and I wasn't paying attention. But I was paying attention this time. Is it Hindi or Braj Bhasha? You've gone on mute again. You've gone on magical mute with your mic still on.
Does sound like Hindi, but I'm not familiar with how Braj Bhasha works, so Maharaj would probably be better.
Braj Bhasha. It's Braj Bhasha, yes. That was so beautiful, Ram. I was dancing. It was you just captured it. Sitting alone, normally you sing it with a huge crowd of people, everyone's dancing.
Yeah, it's the first time singing this alone.
To generate it, alone, it's like tremendous, absolutely tremendous, brilliant, 1000%. Well done. So good. So good. Loved it.
Someone's saying it sounds Hindi to me. Isn't it that Isn't it the Hindi and Braj Bhasha?
It's mixed, yes, mixed, yeah.
Hari Bol, thank you for everyone for another auspicious day. Also want to realize I forgot to thank one more person, that's Jiva Pavan Prabhu, who's really who's really been, you know, very active participant and watcher, and is really embellishing everything by commenting, and everyone who comments and stuff, but especially we're very fortunate to have someone who's as learned as him, and also we'll be hearing from him, I think, within the next week. He's got a slot, so I'm really excited to hear from him again on, I think, Srila Prabhupada's appearance, yes? Disappearance, forgive me. So yeah, I'm very excited. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. It's really nice to have you here. It makes it feel especially like home, because I always remember seeing your face at the Ganga matters from when I first started coming, amongst others. It's like, yeah, same with Ramananda Prabhu and others. So anyway, we've come to the end. Vansha Kalpa Tiruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavne Byo Vaishnave Byo Namo Namaha. I realized I've forgotten something, and that is to announce that this evening, if you didn't get enough Hari-Katha, you want to hear about these places again, you can hear from at 6 p.m. UK time from Shriman Rasik Mohan Prabhu and Srimati Radhika Manchanda Didi. Very auspicious. And then tomorrow, don't miss tomorrow, because tomorrow is very, very auspicious. We are doing Radhakund Parikrama. We are also going to Uddhavkund. We're going to Kusum Sarovar, which is my background, by the way. If you keep seeing that picture, you know, in between me getting that, that's Kusum Sarovar. So we're going to Kusum Sarovar. I think it's Diwali as well that day, but so auspicious.
Deepavali, yes. 3-4 days Deepavali.
So very, very auspicious. So I'm sure you're all excited. I am. I didn't really see that, but I just saw that now, so I'm very excited. So Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Premanande.